Okay, bonjour, Jayak. Thank you much for joining us. So we'll start by introducing ourselves. Hopefully you can see us well in the frame. Yes, all right. So Randy, would you like to start?
Sure. Bojo, Pinogel, Kino Magwet, Deshnikas, Nishnapa Noswin, Anet Bamadzajak Gakadot, the West Conway, which squab close get to me, we Oquan, Nishnapa Noswin, Randy Schlachtun and Deshnikas, Wichita Oshbuck, and Dutch Bia. My name is Randy Schlachtun, and I come from Lawton, Oklahoma. And I'm here today with Tesia Zientek, Zijakwe. I think we're going to go over some powwow doings, and we'll do our best.
Absolutely. Q&A.
Oh.
And this is absolutely a Q&A. So as we go, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We have some lovely ladies from Public Information who are monitoring that. And so this is meant to be interactive. Please interrupt us at any time. I will introduce myself quickly and then we'll get started. So, Bonjour, Tejakuni Nishnabe no Swin, Fishes and Dekadejnikas, Shani Oklahoma Nochbia, Bodewani Clay Indao. My Potawatomi name is Zijakuni, which means like a crane. My English name is Tesia Zientek. I'm originally from Shawnee, Oklahoma, and I am a citizen of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. I also am the director of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation Department of Education, and I don't know if Randy mentioned it, but he works with the after-school program.
I teach the youth the language and what I know of the culture and those types of things. Yes.
Absolutely. So today, some of you may be experienced powwow dancers or have attended a lot of powwows, but maybe you haven't. And so today's just an opportunity to talk about what you should do when you attend a powwow and maybe some things you should avoid doing. And then we will demonstrate, we'll talk about our regalia and what went into that. And if we've got time, we'll demonstrate some dance steps.
Oh, I'm dancing.
Okay, well, Randy is gonna dance, whether there's time or not, whether we're on camera or not, dance is gonna happen. So, I think, and as I said, at any point, if you have a question, please pop it in the chat and we will handle it.
Scarlett says, you both look absolutely fabulous.
Hey, I showed up late. I'm still getting suited up here, and I really, Isa Mindum, Tesia, I'm really thinking about that, and I'm kind of sorry about that.
No,
But
that's okay.
I didn't know whether I should get suited up on camera to see the process, or if I should be fully suited up. And so, but I'm here, and all the stuff's here. And so
That's okay. Why don't you keep going, and I'll talk a little bit about my regalia, and
Sure.
then I'll hand it off to you to talk about yours.
We'll see if I'm done by that time.
And if not, you'll talk about what you're putting on.
Okay, yeah.
So, I dance women's traditional down here in Oklahoma. This is kind of typically the style of 7 o'clock. It's a little bit different than you might see if you live up in the northern area and you see women who dance traditional. But I'll kind of go through my regalia, and I just realized, so if you don't mind, maybe grabbing me that shawl that's on that bench over there. Thank you. I realized I was over there. But I will start and tell you about what I'm wearing. So when we wear our tribal clothing for powwow or sometimes for ceremony, we call it regalia. It's not a costume or anything like that. It is what? Thank you. It is our regalia. So you can kind of think about it as if you are religious, and you go to church, you're wearing a Sunday best. So this is sort of like our Sunday best. This is what you wear when you are wanting to show out and show that you're proud of your culture. So my regalia, you can see kind of a recurring theme here throughout, on my shawl here, has a lot of cranes on it. So each, because I mentioned at the beginning, my Potawatomi name means like a crane, Jahui. And so my mother, who made this regalia for me, made sure that we incorporated a lot of cranes, a lot of jujak symbolism in it. So everybody's regalia is different. One thing that I want to mention is that it takes a long time to create, develop, and add to, gather the pieces, make the pieces of your regalia. And that's why it's so individual to the wearer. And that's why when we wear it, when I wear mine and when Randy wears his, I think about all the people who have contributed to these pieces, and I want to wear it with the utmost respect. So today, as I was getting dressed, I thought about the fact that my mother made my skirt and my leggings and my blouse here with the yoke. She made those pieces. I helped her. I'm not a great sewer, but I did help her iron things on. I helped her cut pieces out. I helped her make the design. So that was my contribution as she made it. Moccasins, she and I made those together. If you can see the moccasins, I've got some pucker toe moccasins, pucker toe so-called, because you can see the pucker there. I mentioned the yoke piece here. This is something that our ancestors used a long time ago. It could carry things. It could also be kind of pulled around your head to block the sun as like a bonnet. But now we have that as a piece of our regalia.
And then purse.
Yeah, there you go. Now we have, my mom uses something else for Indian purse.
I had to say it, Tesia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I may say some things there. It'll be
No,
okay.
you're good. But now we kind of have it just as that nod to that traditional piece. And then I have my shawl here. Sometimes if you only have a shawl, or depending on where you are, you might wear this around your shoulders or different spots. But when I dance, I wear it here on my arm. And as I dance, that fringe shakes along or sways along with the music. I also thought about the fact that this here, I bought this at the last gathering of Potawatomi Nations we had in person up in Canada. I bought it from somebody from the Shinimig Nation, one of our other Potawatomi nations. And then this is something that my great-grandfather beaded that my grandmother, who has since passed away, gifted to me. So as I put all this together, I thought about the people in my family, all the way stretching back to my great-grandpa, the tribal people all the way up into Canada, down to Oklahoma, who helped me put this together. My earrings here are birch bark. They have cranes on them. They were made by Christy Phillips, who is citizen Potawatomi and now lives up in Michigan. So a lot of different folks contributed to this, and it means a lot to me. And if I had to, I couldn't put a price on it if I tried. It was priceless. It's just taken me years and years to add these pieces. I switch out kind of depending on what I feel like wearing that day. You know, I have some different necklaces, like this one, that's from my great-grandfather too. Some different earrings, some barrettes and things that sometimes I wear. So all of that kind of is a little bit different depending on what day it is and what I'm dressing for. Sometimes I will wear this feather that's from one of our eagles that used to be at the Eagle Aviary in Yana Bay, and in fact threaded by Mr. Randy Schlachtun.
Oh, that was done up in Pokagon
Yes,
one night.
it was, or at Gun Lake, I think. Yep.
Gun Lake,
That's
yeah.
right. Sometimes I'll wear that in my hair. And then kind of what I always have is this fan here. This was gifted to me whenever I graduated with my master's. These are eagle feathers, and the beadwork here, you can see it matches the beadwork on my regalia, and that was beaded by Sue Johnson, who works here for the nation. So that's a little bit about what I wear. Are there any questions?
Not right now.
Not right now. All right, Randy, tell us what you've got on.
Hey, what I got so far is I got this breastplate that was made by Al Bronaugh out there. Kyle guy that used to work for the absentees. I don't know if he's still around or not, but wherever he's at, I hope he's doing the best. And this scarf I stole out my grandma's closet now. Really, but that's what that is. What it is. It's one of them old scarves that them old milkmaids wear, keep the rain off her hair, whatever that is purpose is. And I don't know. Can you see moccasins? Yeah. Rest in peace, Ardina O'Neill. She put her and her husband. They put together these moccasins for me, man. They fully beaded them up. Just I can't say enough about the O'Neill family and our daughters and wherever they're at, man. I hope they're doing great. And that was she was inspiration for a lot of things. Whenever I first put together some cuffs like this, I came with just a little bit of beadwork right here in the middle, and she would always send me back, go more beads, more beads. And so same thing whenever I was beating up this stick would not fully do her justice, but I would come with a little piece of beadwork and she would send me back every time. Cheyenne or Arapaho is where she come from in Seminole, and she would always send me back more beads. And I think finally, whenever I got it to this point, then she was like, okay, that's good right there. So, and then, I usually rock a head roach whenever I dance everywhere, but this year I decided I'm gonna get that Weo Quannet otter hat, and same thing. I just tried to just keep on putting more beads and more beads because that's the way I was taught, you know, and so.
Never enough beads.
Never enough beads, never enough beads. And man, I think an important thing, if we're going to talk about powwow etiquette, we'll talk more about the outfit and whatnot. But all right, hey, powwows out here in Oklahoma is hot. Okay, and the sun's beaming down, and you always hear. Most every tribe around here that I know, we always enter from the east side, facing the west, and usually when the sun up, 6 o'clock when the powwow starts, 7:30, the sun is right there. And so I'd like to tell people, if you're gonna do this, and it's okay to do, is you need a good pair of shades right here, especially for the first few hours of the powwow anyway. And so, yeah, that's one thing that I would recommend if you're gonna be dancing or something like that, then you may want to do that.
Something I wanted to point out that I think, and I don't know where all of you are coming from, but a lot of times people when they think about regalia, they think about what they've seen, you know, on TV or movies, and a lot of times it's somebody like in a war bonnet and a headdress. And so it's not that people in our tribe, you know, maybe sometimes weren't gifted those, but a lot of times it was our ancestors used what they had around them. So they would use the otter for a turban or a hat like that, like what Randy has. You know, they would use buckskin, eventually cloth that they traded for. So we use what we had around. So it's unlikely, less likely you're going to see someone with like a headdress, and more likely you're going to see something like what Randy's got. So Randy, tell us what kind of style of dance you do.
The style of dance that I do is a Southern Oklahoma style, straight dance. And well, yeah, that's what it is.
The gentleman's dance.
Yeah, the gentleman's dance. They say the gentleman's dance. There's many a story about it. You know, it's I'm not going to say it's something that we do a lot here in Oklahoma and throughout the South, and it may not be something so much that they do up north where they're like our Oklahoma style is Southern straight, where they may do woodlands style up there, which is maybe their local style of dance or regional, I would say.
Yeah, like.
But they do appreciate a straight dancer up there up north. Yeah, and we appreciate a woodland dancer down
That's
here.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of one thing that I think is interesting about us as just two examples is the style of dance that we do are too southern. You know, the women's traditional up north often looks a lot different, but down here the southern cloth looks a little different. Southern straights, you know. So because our tribe was removed from the Great Lakes area, we still wear a lot of things that nod to that tradition, to our ancestors, but of course we were influenced by the tribes that were around us down here in Oklahoma. We've been here for a couple hundred years. Yeah. So I think with that, and of course Paige and Ansley, if you get any questions, let us know.
Absolutely. We have another shout out to Ardina O'Neill.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I don't know who was that.
Sam Navar.
Oh yeah, man. Sam. Good friend, Sam, man. Good friend.
Do you want to tell us about some of the significance maybe of your stick or your bells?
You know, my bells kind of keep time with the drum whenever it's going down. They just kind of go along with the drum, and I think it keeps the judges or people looking around see that I'm keeping time or not, because my bells may be off a little bit from what's going on with the drum, and that's.
But it lets you hear yourself, right?
Yeah. Also, I can hear myself too. Yeah, that's right. And make a pleasant noise for the people in the crowd watching and the other dancers, and yeah, things like that. A personal like more personal touches, like I got the hummingbirds here that kind of represent my grandma. And you know, just like everybody's grandma, I'm betting around here, they like to, when they get older, they sit there and watch hummingbirds outside their window. It just is what it is. And so that was kind of a nod to her. And I don't know. Oh, well, they say back in the day that like this drop right here, this otter right here would it was in this stick right here were used together. And if maybe you was out and about roaming around your territory, and another person from another tribe was to come on around and approach or something, you may, if I have my feather up in my hat, you may kind of rock it like that to give them a notice that, hey man, I'm on alert and I see you, and you don't want to come over here and mess around with me, type of thing. Just kind of keep your space. And then also I've also heard that this stick together with this drop or this otter, a man would stake himself into the ground with this stick and this otter back here to hold his spot, to say, I'm holding this ground and nobody's gonna take it from me. I'm not leaving, you know. And so that was something I was always told.
So while we're on regalia, still
Yes.
a little bit before we really start dance.
Sure.
Kristen is asking, if we don't have regalia, can we still attend powwows? What should we wear in that case?
Man, you know what? What I would say is that you can wear whatever your daily attire is, and people at powwows and Indian people in general are very open and accepting of everyone. And you know, there's going to be different times during the powwow that will be designated just for women in Southern cloth, and just for men who are Southern straight or Northern traditional, or whatever style of dance that you dance. There will be times designated for those people, but there are also times designated for everybody. And they call those intertribals.
What?
No, that was not a test. That was like what are they called?
It's been a couple of years.
No, they call those intertribals. Yes.
What are some bare necessities for powwow attire entering
So
the arena?
So let's talk about
Okay.
powwow etiquette real quick, and then I will answer that question. I'm not getting away from that. If we're talking about etiquette, I think there is one word that encompasses just about everything we're going to talk about, and that is respect. So when you're going to a powwow, you are on whatever tribal land or whoever's hosting it, you know, that tribe, that organization, you want to treat them with respect. And there's going to be different rules depending on who's hosting that powwow. So as long as you are doing things with the respect that you would if you were, say, to walk into a church space, that you would whenever you walk on any kind of ground that you think of as sacred or holy, that's kind of what you want to bring to a powwow.
If you're a respectful person, yeah, you'll just
Yeah.
try to show a little respect.
Exactly. Now, to say that, powwows are they're not a traditional thing that we had years and years and years. They're a social thing. So it's not, I'm not saying that every powwow necessarily has a sacred element to it, like that it is a ceremony, but the act of dance, the act of wearing this regalia, I think of that as being sacred. I
Sure.
think that that is a way of connecting to my ancestors. So when you ask about what are some of the bare necessities of what you need to wear, the main thing is when you walk into that space, come with an attitude of respect and kind of, if it's not a place that you've been before, then look around, observe. What are
Sure.
other people wearing? What are
Yeah.
other people doing? What
Yeah.
is the MC or the arena director telling you?
Yeah, there will be and every powwow I've been to, there will be what they call an AD or arena director, and you'll notice the guy, or they'll say his
The
name, or
board.
oh yeah, he'll have something. I don't know. Anyway, this man, this person, or even the people around will guide you and give you the way. But the arena director will let you know what's happening and who should be out there and what he'll direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. You'll direct that arena.
That's right.
Well, and I mean, so just two examples. So
Okay.
say you show up at the family reunion festival when it's in person next, and we are on the night that we have our dances.
Okay, yeah.
And you show up and you're like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't care what anyone else does. I'm gonna go into this arena when I want and do what I want. Well, that I would say would not be acting respectfully. You're kind of
Sure.
doing what you want to do instead of listening to what the arena director or the MC has to do. Versus, like, okay, let me ask earlier. Let me find out other people. Our powwow, our dance that we have on Saturday night every year at festival, we do have some specific rules, and there are other powwows, other dances that also have kind of specific rules on what you can wear. One of those is at ours, our arena director won't allow you in the circle if you're a woman who's not wearing long pants or a skirt. If you're wearing shorts or a tank top, our arena directors will say, you're not able to dance at this powwow. That's not the rule at every single powwow. That's what I mean about respecting who the host is and what their rules are.
Yeah, the safest thing would be is to bring a blanket
Or
when you
shawl
go
if
to
you've
a
got
powwow. Yeah,
one.
blanket or a shawl, and put that on, especially if maybe you just come from the swimming pool or something like that. Don't bring your pets. Don't bring your dogs to the powwow. It's just something that I've always been told, and it's something that you don't do. From what I understand, throughout Indian country, you don't bring your pets. You don't wear your swimsuit.
You're not going to be barefoot. So at ours, they don't really want you to wear, at our family reading festival, they typically want you to wear closed-toed shoes, but that's not always the rule everywhere, but definitely wear some kind of shoes.
Okay.
I mean, just some things that maybe don't need to be said, but sometimes, you might not think, I wouldn't go out there and smoke while you're in the arena, like bring your cigarette or your vape or whatever, or if you've got gum, you got to think about, well, what am I going to do with this gum if I'm in the circle for a long time?
Yeah, you don't want to. That's another thing. You don't want to throw trash down in the arena. Which, I mean, some of this stuff may seem obvious to it, but yeah, you don't want to spit your gum out in the arena. You don't want to leave nothing behind like that. For us as dancers, we don't want to drop. We want to make sure that our regalia is on tight. We want to. And this is a trick of the trade. You may wrap some duct tape or electrical tape around your moccasins so it don't go flying off. Secure your feathers. You surely don't want to drop feathers in the arena. Now, I never personally done it, and I've been around people who have, and I've been at powwows where it happens, and usually some veterans, Marines and Army people, veterans like that will come out and give you a stern talking to, from what I understand. Like I say, I hope it don't happen to me, and I usually check mine really good. I got some more that I usually wear, and there's a little more to the suit, but yeah, you want to make sure that But what you bring in stays with you and it leaves with you also.
And it's not, it goes back again to that idea of respect. Like this fan, these feathers were gifted to me, that hair feather I showed you, that was gifted to that plume. I want to show respect to the people who gifted that to me. I want to show respect to those eagles, those whatever type of bird it is that gave those feathers. And so Randy's right. If a feather drops, especially an eagle feather, then they'll stop everything.
Yeah.
And what it looks like is that you weren't respecting that gift.
Yeah.
And so it's something you just want to be really careful with. It's not something to be super nervous with. It's like if you had, you think about like your iPhone or something like that. When you have something that is valuable to you.
Yeah, you don't want to lose. Yeah, that's exactly right. Me or you don't want to. We want to take care of our stuff and keep our stuff in good shape. Also. Yeah,
exactly. Other things to be as far as etiquette goes, really, a lot of it can be boiled down to listening to the arena director. That's the person on the mic. The MC. That's the person on the mic that usually says, "All right, it's time for dancers to line up," or whatever. And then once you get to the circle, you'll hear and see the arena director telling people how to line up and where and what dance is going to happen. As Randy was saying, the safest time, if you don't have regalia, it's your first time to a powwow, when they call for an intertribal, that means come one, come all.
That's your chance to get out there and dance.
And try it out. And that's even open to non-natives.
Sure,
To anybody. That's
everybody.
a social. So
let's get out here and celebrate together.
What you wouldn't come in is if they said, okay, it's time for Southern Straight. That's when all the people that are dressed like Randy is, that's when they're going to line up and they're going to do their dance. So I know that's not my time to dance because I wouldn't be dressed that way. And if I wasn't, sometimes I just go to powwow not dressed out, just watch and observe. And then I only go in when it's.
I would say another big one in powwow etiquette, if that's what we're going with, would be to, hey, if you got a couple dollars in your pocket, you may go out there to the drum. You're more than welcome to walk out to the drum and give them some money. These guys, they travel around and they sing, and they're not going to ask you for no money. But hey, they may be traveling from Oklahoma and they may be trying to get up to Minnesota to go sing at another powwow, and they need some gas for that van or whatever they're taking. And so I'd say that's more than welcome anytime, is just to tip your drum. I'm guilty of it myself. You're out there dancing and you win prize money and you go on home and forgot to tip the drum. And I've done that before, and it's okay. But I would say if you're out there and you do win a little prize money or something, go ahead on and tip that drum. They're the ones that played the song for you.
That's right. The powwow doesn't happen without the drum.
That's right.
And those drummers, powwows often will last like 6 plus hours.
Days.
Multiple days of it. That's a lot of work. It's hot a lot of the time. Or cold, I guess, depending on where you are. The weather is crazy.
Of course.
And so you want to show respect for that drum that's providing that beat. And so, like Randy said, given a little bit of money, and just sometimes even just going and shaking their hands and saying, hey, miigwech, thank you for coming and drumming for us. Your question?
Joan said, is it appropriate, not disrespectful, to try to dance? I'm from out of the area and have brought grandchildren to powwows for the last 5 or 6 years in Oklahoma.
Is it appropriate to try to dance? Absolutely.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there wouldn't be no powwow if nobody tried to dance. Yeah, you got to get out there.
There's always a first time.
Yeah, that's right. There's a first time, and I say it is appropriate. And even if you don't know a certain scrub board style or whatever different style of dance, you can always get out there and just walk to the beat of the drum. Walk around like, just walk to the beat of the drum. That's fine.
And what we usually do when we're in person, so next time if you are here for the Iranian Festival, usually on Friday morning and Saturday morning, that's when we do this class in person, and there's an opportunity during that class to practice dancing. So if you're coming for the first time and you're not sure what to wear or how to dance, come then, and then you get a chance to practice. The stakes are low. No one's, the stands aren't full. you can try it with us and then.
Sure, yeah, on a Saturday or Friday afternoon, evening.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we do this.
Check the schedule.
Yeah, check the schedule. Usually it's 10 a.m. on Friday and 10 a.m. on
Yeah,
Saturday.
that's right.
But yeah, and so the main thing is just try it. And again, with that attitude of respect. So the fact that you're asking that question, was it Joan? Was it? Yeah, the fact that you're asking that question, Joan, shows me that you're coming at it from a respectful place. Any other questions?
Sam says, can you recommend some Southern drums to practice dancing your style to?
Yeah, sure. I would say, well, you just go Southern Thunder. That's a good one. I really like them Oto, Missouri songs. You could probably YouTube it or something like it. And that's another thing. Hey, take advantage of it. There's videos out there. You Google powwow or Southern straight powwow. It'll take you right to a good Sac and Fox straight dance. I'm not sure about the different women's video, but you could look up Southern cloth powwow and take a look at it and
watch what they do.
see.
Yeah. And I mean, so like I have a powwow playlist that I like to practice with on Spotify or whatever your streaming service. If you'll type in powwow, type in what kind of song you're looking for. So for example, grand entry, that's the time when all the dancers come in to the circle right at the very beginning. You can find a grand entry song. You can find a Southern straight song.
Because beats do vary. Drum beats do vary for different songs. And so there may be a double beat kind of side step for friendly, what do we call those?
Round dance.
Yeah, round dance style songs or
All kinds of different.
trick songs.
But there are a lot of like those social songs like that. They're meant for people to get out and
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, when you see Randy dancing a little bit, like his has kind of a lot of specific personality to it that he's kind of learned. I mean,
I'm sure it does.
I mean, anybody who dances that style, when you're competing, you're going to add your own little flavor to it.
That's right.
Versus like the very kind of the basic step that you do for any of these dances that is not as, I guess, as fancy as you get when you're competing.
Okay, you got a question? As far as dance steps are concerned, on the men's side, around here and around Oklahoma, the way I was always taught is it's just a toe touching and a heel dropping. Toe touching, heel, boom, 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 boom.
What foot do you start with?
Huh?
What foot do you start
You
with?
know what? I don't really go off on no special foot. If there is some special rules that say, hey, you're supposed to start with a special foot, I never heard about it, and I've been danced all around here.
I
But,
only ask that because we usually get that question. So.
okay, and so, hey man, a lot of this stuff is not as not as set in stone. As of course you want to be respectful and you don't want to show up. I don't want to show up in my little halter top with my belly hanging out, like me personally as a man. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But like, you want to be respectful, but also,
Have fun with it.
yeah, have fun with it, man. This is that's what we're there for. We're there to have fun.
It's
We're there
dancing, right?
together.
Yeah.
It's dancing. That's what it is, right there.
It brings joy. It connects us to
Yeah.
our ancestors. It is really special. And I heard a teaching a while back about the men's stuff. If I can share.
Yeah,
it.
sure.
That the reason that it has that kind of toe heel, or sometimes you'll see people actually do
Two
two
steps.
steps like this, is because when first man started to walk, he wasn't steady on his feet.
Yeah, he's probably out in the water for a long time.
Yeah. And so when he first did that, he kind of wasn't steady on his feet. So that's what I was taught, is that's why that dance has that extra kind of a step, or that you're kind of getting your footing. It's that nod to first man.
Okay.
Sarah says, I have heard of needing to have a dance gifted to you. Are there some dances that are only appropriate to participate in if you've been gifted the dance?
So what I'll say on that is that, like, whenever I wanted to dance, then I talked with somebody who was already dancing. They were dancing Northern traditional, and I told them, man, I want to dance. And said, well, I think you should. Do you know kind of what you want to dance? And I said, well, man, I don't think I'm active enough to dance that Northern style like you do. And I really want to dance that Southern style like that Oklahoma style. And he had me talk with the older man who had danced Southern straight for a long time. And I told the man, you know, what I wanted to do. And he said, well, I think you should. You put yourself an outfit together and get out there and do it. And so on one hand, I think talking with somebody who, like, if you want to dance a certain style, if you can, and people are approachable. You talk to them about dancing and they say, hey, go ahead on and do it. Then you go ahead on and do it. I talked with my elders and people around and told them what I wanted to do. And there was a lot of support for me to do that. And not only from within our tribe, but from outside our tribe, other tribal members of other nations. And I felt a whole lot of support whenever I decided to really suit up and get out there and dance. And what you're doing it, people been dancing like this for a while now. And you know, after you get old, you can't really get out there in the heat and dance around like that. And so you have to sit in the audience, and it's up to a younger generation like us to pick that up and keep it going. On one hand, for the entertainment of them people who used to do it before you. Yeah.
And just because kind of like you're dancing for those who can't anymore. Whether
Yeah,
they
that's
passed
right.
on, or whether they're no longer physically able
That's
to.
right.
And so the answer to that question is kind of a little tricky.
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
And like Randy said, if you've got someone around you, and I understand that where you living, you may not have a connection to a community or an elder real close that you know who to ask. And of course, I mean, sometimes people reach out to me. I definitely do not have all the answers. I do not have all the teachings. I don't know of anyone who does, and I know I
Sure.
have a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
But if someone reaches out to me, I will do my best to answer what I can, and I'll pass them on to someone else who maybe knows more about that stuff.
And we never intend to disrespect anybody. Like, I dance this Southern style because this is where I'm from, Oklahoma, and they say that's where this started, right? This style of dance started, and so from being from the Wichita Mountains, that's kind of how they dance out there. Now there is a certain group of people, a certain tribe that who probably the ones who did start this style of dance, who have their own special ceremony just for this dance, and they have a special name for it and everything, and they do that, and they wear a special something with their regalia that separates them from a guy like me who's out there dancing because I'm Southern and I'm from Oklahoma, and this is the style of dance that I was told, hey, yeah, get out there and dance that.
I will say one, so like I said, the answer is tricky. So I will mention, and I was looking here because we've got a bunch of different styles of dance. We don't have a jingle up here. There's a northern traditional that you were talking about before. Cody here. Let's see, we've got another Southern straight, got a fast dancer, and then some other Southern clock and Southern straight. But I thought we might have a jingle dress example. We don't have one, but if you can like YouTube or Google jingle dress, you may have seen it if you've been to a powwow. You may have seen it if you've been to a powwow. It has little kind of like cones, or it looks sounds like bells whenever they hit together. So that style for women, there is an old style and a contemporary style. And I won't go into it too much unless anyone wants to hear it, because it's kind of a little bit in the weeds. But for that old style, I was taught that you are gifted that old style. So it's a healing dance.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's a healing dance,
it's a
right?
healing dance. There is a story of healing behind it. And the difference between the two, if you're just looking, it's pretty easy to tell, because contemporary, so old style will have 365 cones on it. Contemporary can vary in the number of cones, so it won't have as many. The colors are going to be brighter in contemporary. That's kind of, it's a contest type dance. So you want to attract the attention of the judges versus old style will be more muted, more natural tones. And then the one easy telltale is that contemporary style will have a fan. You know, you'll see them on the honor beat, they have a fan. Old style will not have a fan.
Okay.
So that's, and that's, if you wanted to dance jingle and when you're deciding which kind you want to do and why, a lot of times that old style, it's either gifted to them by someone else who dances jingle, or sometimes it means that you lost somebody, that there are other people who dance because that someone close to them passed away and they are dancing that kind of in honor of them. And again, as a
Okay,
hero dance.
that's really good information.
Yeah.
Some of that I've never even heard of.
So really, it all comes down to this idea of respect. And if you're starting to dance, I'm not saying that, I'm not here to tell you that you cannot dance jingle if you have not lost someone close to you.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just telling you that those are their teachings behind it. And that's why I think it is important, if you can, like Randy was saying, talk to somebody who dances that style so they can, because they're going to know it better than I know it just from what I've heard. They're going to be able to tell you all the things that they've learned. It connects you to even other people who dance it. So it's good. It's a good way to join in the community to start dancing.
Can you recommend a beginner women's dance?
Yeah, sure can. So Randy showed the men's beat, which is kind of that double for women. It's almost the same thing, but instead of that heel toe, it is just step, dip, step, dip. I'm gonna turn this way so you can see my shawl. So if you think of the beat kind of being like a 1, 2, 1, 2, so Randy would be like the 1, 2, 1, 2, right? For women, it would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see, like Randy said, all I'm really doing is walking to the beat. You don't have to be as pronounced with your dip. Some people just walk. The main thing for all the styles of dances,
Sure.
as much as you can, you want to be on beat.
Yeah.
So if you can catch that beat, whatever you're doing, somebody who's doing a fancy shawl style, which is obviously fancy, right? They're going to do all kinds of things on that beat, but it's going to be on the beat.
Yeah.
Jingles, real similar, although it's not as intricate as the fancy shawl. Same thing. They're hopping around, but they're on the beat. But for
Your feet are hitting the ground when the drum hits. Boom, boom.
exactly.
Boom.
So it's a lot about. That's why that drum is so important. You want to honor them because you can't do it without them.
Oh, we better tell them.
Yeah.
Also, you want to stop when the drums stop. So you may not, hey, the first time you get out there and dance, you may not know this song. Okay, and when the drum stops, you may keep on going, you know. But the goal, from way I was always taught, and what seems to ring true, is that you want to stop when the drum stops.
So that
Okay.
takes knowing the song.
It takes knowing the song, doing your little studies, getting your Southern Thunder
Yeah.
tape. Yeah, that way you can listen. Kozak, get you some of that
And you'll
Kozak.
start to notice some conventions now. I say that. The tricky ones are only if you're going to be competing. If you're dancing in a grand entry, you're going to know when it stops because you can kind of hear it in the drum once you listen. But if you're doing a contest song, sometimes they've got trick beats where
They'll stop
yeah.
and then start again. And
Or
then
they'll stop like mid push up and you're like,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But most of the time, when Sam James, who isn't here with us today, what he usually talks about
Okay.
is that him and his brother will
Yeah.
say like, I think it's one. I wish I could remember exactly how he says it, but he's got sort of a saying that he and his brother used to say.
Oh
when
yeah, I
they were,
remember. Man, I wish I knew that too. I've
1, 2,
heard him
3,
say
I
it.
am going to stop
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I think it's like that because the way that the drum you
Yeah,
can kind of
that's
hear
right.
that.
I'm gonna stop right now.
Yeah, because
Okay.
on a
Yeah.
normal non-trick song,
Yeah.
it does kind of have. So when you're listening, and we'll play a song in a minute, a grand entry song, and just kind of
Okay.
show it. But when you listen, there's the regular drum beats, and then you hear these really loud drum beats
Okay.
called honor beats.
Yeah.
And so the way I was taught is that beat. Well, when you listen to the song, the singers usually start higher and go lower. They're up north, they start really high, but even in southern, they start a little higher and go lower. That kind of tells you that the song came from Creator. That's coming down here. And that honor beat is also a way to honor that, you know, even if a human wrote this song, that inspiration came from Creator.
Because a lot of songs will end on 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you hear that, those loud beats, those
Good,
honor beats,
Paige.
yes, thanks. You can tell someone knows their music
I'm
here. She was
telling you
serenading
what,
us
yeah.
earlier. So when you hear those loud beats, when you watch dances, if you do end up YouTubing or Googling, what's really cool is that most dances, they do something a little bit different on that honor beat. Somehow they change their style.
Sure.
When you're competing, you're in grand entry, you're gonna do that same stuff the whole time. But when you're competing, so I mentioned jingle dress, if they are contemporary and they have that fan, that's when you'll see them. As soon as those honor beats hit, their fan goes up and they kind of wave their fan on the honor beats.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say fancy shawl, their arms go out and they
They
kind of,
start flailing around.
they start
Yeah.
flailing around. For the dance that I do, what we do is called tracking, kind of like in your style too,
Yeah.
kind of like you're looking for an animal, thinking about it. So you
Yeah,
start to kind of look down on the ground, you bend over,
yeah.
and then you kind of slowly come
Yeah,
up. But I do that on the honor beat.
I kind of do the same thing. I think whenever the song's going around, I'm basically just kind of walking about. But whenever I hear them honor beats, I may get down and start looking around or something like this.
And so it's different for and there's all kinds of other styles.
Sure, yeah, there's all types of stuff that happens.
But if you listen when you're watching and you're like, oh, I hear that loud beat, look what they're doing, because you'll probably notice they do something just a little bit different when those beats.
And it is your this is your dance, you know. You
Make it your own.
make it, yeah, you make it what you will. Yeah, you do it.
That's how people, especially when you're competing, that's how they often will get to be that #1 contest dancer.
Sure, yeah.
They got a signature move.
That's right, yeah.
So, any other questions?
We
Mine's
have
a blood curdling war whoop.
That's how you know.
we have one more question
Okay.
right now. What would be the first item of your regalia that you want to make first?
Depends on what style you're gonna dance and whether you're a male or female. So I'll answer for female. and
Okay.
then you can answer for male.
I'll do my best. Okay, I got one.
Okay, and I'll give you a couple of places you could start. I would say the first place, a real easy place to start, is your shawl, because I'm wearing this on my arm, but you can also dance with your shawl around your shoulders. So if you don't have the rest of your regalia, this can kind of be that starter piece, and it covers up a lot of you. And I know, did we have a virtual festival this year of shawl making? We didn't. When you come here in person, there's usually a shawl making workshop, but all this really is a square of fabric. There's the fringe looks a little difficult, but once you get it down, it's really easy. And it's got some application. Our gift shop sells some. You could commission someone to make it. That's a really good place to start. Or I'd say your moccasins.
Okay.
What about you?
I would say for a man, just I would say show up with a ribbon shirt. This is a shirt. This is one my aunt made me years ago. I was surprised it actually fit. I didn't know if I was going to squeeze into it or not. But apparently, I haven't gained too much weight. But it's just a cotton cloth shirt with a pretty little flowery print on it, and some ribbon that she sewn across the front, and maybe a few hanging down in here and on the back. And I would say the ribbon shirt would be something that any man could obtain and put on and go to the powwow.
And moccasins for all, right?
Man,
another good
yeah,
place
if you're
to start.
blessed enough to get you a pair of fully beaded moccasins, or make your own, or talented enough, or whatever, yeah, sure, moccasins, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as far as a ribbon shirt goes,
Yeah.
I mean, so if you're coming to our powwow here, our family reunion festival, what you'll see is most men who've got that kind of starter piece. They have
Sure.
their ribbon shirt, and then you'll see women who have that shawl, and then they're wearing, maybe the women are wearing a skirt, a long skirt with it. There's some teachings about why we wear long skirts. You're standing in your own circle. There's a lot of sacredness about circles, and the longer it is, the closer it is to second way, to Mother Earth. So often women will wear long skirt, a blouse that covers their shoulder, and a shawl, and closed-toed shoes just to start with. And that's you're getting there. And then next time maybe you add a skirt with applique, these designs right here. Or sometimes it's just a long skirt and kind of like this calico material like Randy has with ribbon around the bottom, or ruffle on the bottom, kind of can depend. Oh, I thought of something for powwow etiquette as I did that.
Sure.
I'm sorry, because one thing that you don't want to do when you're at a powwow, and I apologize for doing that, is touch someone else's regalia without asking permission. So
Okay.
I'm sorry for
Yeah,
touching.
it's good to keep your hands to yourself on that aspect.
Because you don't know, like we kind of talked about where our pieces came from. You don't know who made it, what it means. Same kind of thing as if you want to take a picture, most of the time people are fine with it, but you don't want to just go up. I mean, like you were in a zoo or something and you're like, kind of taking a picture. You know what I would do is say like, hey, would you take a picture of you or with you? And if they say no, then you respect that and you keep going because they may have a reason. Maybe their design is special to their family.
Also, on that same note, I would say video. Same thing. If you happen to be shooting video or something like this, you may listen out because the arena director may say, at this time, we want to have no photography or no video. There will be somebody there to keep your ear out for that's going to let you know kind of what's going on. And that, of course, that would be the time to be respectful and put your camera away for that instance.
How much time left we have, Paige?
We have about 6 minutes, but we can go a little longer. Do we want
Sure.
to do some demos?
I was gonna maybe we can just do real quick, I'll put on a song.
Let's do it.
And then we'll kind of show you, just so you can see those steps that we mentioned. This will be kind of a grand entry song, so it's gonna be pretty, I just got a Thunderhill grand entry song here. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Can you hear that? Let me start it.
Trying to hold up my pants at the same time.
And you'll notice we're kind of going in a circle here.
That's what we're used to.
Yeah, so normally there'd be a drum in the middle, and we go in that clockwise motion. So being right here in entry, you have all these different styles of dance, and each of them is doing their style. I want to see if there are any questions. I also wanted to point out, so when you're at a powwow, we mentioned the arena director, we mentioned the MC, but there are also two other very important people to watch. Those are your
Okay.
hands.
Who is it?
Your head dancers. So wherever you're.
Oh, yeah. How can we forget?
So the people who lead in the dances, whatever powwow you're in, and sometimes there might be like junior head dancers and senior head dancers.
Yeah.
But those people, the ones that lead in everyone else, if you're not quite sure what the beat is or what to do, they're your guides. Watch them. You're not going to go before them, and you kind of got to watch your steps because you also don't really want to get where you're so fast and you're ahead of them. They should always kind of be out in front. You're kind of in a line. You take big steps, you kind of have to start taking smaller steps, or sometimes
You
maybe.
may have to adjust your speed, yet
Yeah.
keep your feet moving to the beat
Yes.
right there. Yeah.
But those head dancers are going to be good guides for you too.
You can always default on just walking around like you're
Yeah,
fooling.
that's right.
That's kind of the way I started.
Any questions from the dance part?
Not right now. What about moving, what direction you move?
You're moving in a
Clockwise.
circle.
Yeah.
So you always, like.
Really quick.
Yeah.
Where we can get this. Around here, like I said earlier, we enter from the east, and this is a eastern doorway where good vibes and things like this can flow. And so you don't want to just stand in really any one of them, I would say, the north, the south, the east. You don't want to clog up those roads, those areas where people are, where the dance starts or anything like this. Sometimes I see that happen, or I've even done it myself. And you just, yeah, it's something to keep in mind. So that's a doorway for good vibes and spirits. And not that you don't have any, but you don't want to clog that area up. Yeah. Bring your own chair.
Oh, yeah.
You could, most of the time it's a good idea if you're going out to a powwow, bring you a chair, a folding chair or something like this. Not everybody has fancy bleachers and stuff. So you want to bring you some place to seat. The benches that are there's usually some seats right down on the ground, right closest to the drum that's in the center. There's usually some benches wherever you go, whatever powwow you may go to. And those are usually reserved for dancers. If you do see some of them, and there may be a blanket sitting there, but nobody's there, go ahead and just avoid sitting there on their blanket or whatever and find you another place or something. Of course, if you're an old timer, there ain't nobody gonna just, I don't think nobody's just gonna tell you, hey, get up, or whatever. There's certain respect. That goes back to your respect for elders and things like that. Yeah.
And like Randy was saying, sometimes, like I'm still learning, and so there have been plenty of times where someone said, "Hey, that's not how we do that here," or make sure you do this. I learned something new, and so when that happens, I just want you to know that that's not like they're trying to be mean to you or trying to say you don't belong here, you can't be here.
Nobody's doing that.
That's just that's a teaching. That's a moment that you received a teaching, and so you can just say, "Miigwech, thank you," and listen, because that person, for whatever reason, maybe they're from the host tribe or they've been here a ton of years. You just take that teaching and do it, kind of do what they say. You don't like, no,
I'm citizen band.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, whenever during certain prayer songs or different things, different tribes, every tribe is different. We're not all one set way like this. Everybody's got their own ways. Even different people in different families have their own ways. And so you don't want to necessarily what the best thing to do is observe your surroundings. And if everybody's dancing in place, then you dance in place. And if people are going side step, you go side step. And you kind of go with the flow.
And it just takes one time to try it, and then after that, it'll get a little easier. You'll get to be able to teach the people. That first time I know is scary, but then after that, you learn a little bit, gets a little bit easier, and then it becomes a little bit more natural.
And next thing you know, you're going to powwows all over the place just to
compete,
just to have a good time and see old friends.
Kat says, are there any special rules for children on dancing?
Yes. And I don't have any kids, so Randy, you might be better equipped to answer this one.
Got some
of them.
I got some kids, yeah. Any special rules for kids? Special rules for kids. Well, I would say okay, if they're having if they call for I don't know. At our festival and our powwow that we have that for citizen Potawatomi Nation people, I think when we call for tiny tots, I think we're asking for all the kids out there who are under 6 or 6 and under or whatever the age is to come on out there and do your best and do a dance for us, and y'all gonna get a little toy or something like this. That's usually how we do it. Now, if and the best thing to do is maybe watch wherever you're at, but maybe if you're over at the Shawnees and they call for tiny tots, they may be talking about 6 and under, but dressed in full regalia, not just not just your kid who just whatever is in their daily attire. And so the best thing to do would probably get with the arena director and talk to him about it beforehand, or things like that. But I would say at our festival, what we're going for is, hey, all y'all kids get out here and dance it up. Now, I would say the rules kind of apply somewhat the same for attire. Hey, Girls may grab you a little shawl or blanket or something like this, and boys, if you got a ribbon shirt out there, you know, yeah, you wanna try to get that in place before the powwow starts. Yeah.
And so Randy's talking about like tiny tots, so that's for little ones.
Okay.
But say it's one of those contest songs where they say, okay, this is gonna be the Southern Straight contest.
Okay.
Well, that's when those dancers come out. So you don't want your kid, you know, it's hard when you've got a little one and they just want to play and they see all this fun empty grass.
Sure. Yeah.
But you don't want them to be out there, you know, the dancers are trying to focus and you don't want them kind of getting in the way. So you can only control that up to a point. When it's an intertribal, it's, you know, it's less important. But when it's a contest time, or maybe it's a exhibition, or maybe it's a prayer song or a giveaway song or something like that, watching what other people are doing.
I would probably capitalize on the moment if a little kid ran out there while I was dancing, and I would start tracking them around. Yeah.
I kind of hope that happens. Yeah, 'cause that'd be awesome. But yeah, just, I mean, when it's different at every place, but our circle, before everyone starts the dancing, they go out and they smudge that space. That's why you don't want your dogs in there.
Yeah,
you don't,
women take cedar out there, and we
Like
purify that place and get it ready for that time.
so you just kind of, you want to help teach your young ones that space is, you know, is a sacred space, that we're coming to have fun and, you know, be social. One thing real quick, we mentioned that when you're dancing, you're going about clockwise. When you're out in that circle, as much as you can, because you know there are those doors on either in each direction. You want to try, when that song ends, you don't want to turn around and go the other way. You want to try to keep that clockwise.
Keep it running that way.
Yeah, you don't want to break that circle. So say I'm sitting, my dancing bench is over there, but I'm here on this side of the circle. I would either come out the nearest door and go around, or I would keep walking around the circle even a little longer to come back to my bench so I don't close that circle. Or then I don't break that circle.
You think this otter hat, it honors my French fur trader ancestors also, maybe?
Probably
Okay,
so.
all right.
I mean, it honors that relationship. Huh? Any other questions that came up?
Not right
Hey,
now.
we were glad to be here, man. This was a good time, and I'm glad because 4th of July in Norman, Oklahoma, at the Thunderbird Casino, is absentee Shawnee's 50th, some type of big anniversary, and they'll be dancing out there for about 2 or 3 days. Everybody's welcome to attend, so I'll be there, and yeah, y'all should head out there. A lot of powwows been down for a while, and it's a good place to come and just if you just want to watch and see, yeah, in person.
And you know, that's one here in Oklahoma, but sometimes people will ask, like, well, I don't know what the powwows are around here. How do I get plugged in? There's like Powwow Trail Facebook pages.
Powwows.com.
Powwows.com has a bunch of stuff. Most, you know, if there's a good native population at a college, a lot of colleges host
Sure,
powwows.
yeah.
If you've got a local tribe to you, which you do wherever you are, they're probably going to host a powwow.
Mhm.
So those are just some places to start, is looking at the tribes around you, looking at your colleges around you, and then following some of those like powwows.com or
Oh, man,
Powwow Trail.
yeah. If you're down in Texas, Traders Village powwow, that's a good one.
Well, Miigwech, thank you for joining us this afternoon. We wish we could be with you in person, but hopefully we get to see some of you next year. And if you do, come and say hi to us.
Yeah, sure. See you then. Thank you, Miguel.
Kamapi.